ما شاء الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الهاربين. والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماوات بأحمد وفي الأراضين بأبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الأطهرين سيما ولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. رحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم العنين. ما بعد, for the happiness of Hazrat Zahra Marziyah, for the enlightenment of the graves of our Mahmeen, of the graves of the Shuhada, Ulama, Siddiqeen, for the safety of the followers of Ahl-ul-Bayt around the world, and for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam, Allahumma al-Fida, please recite the loudest salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
All praises due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Rahman and the Rahim. Yesterday we began part of a hadith from the 8th Imam, or part of a narration that described the akhlaq of the 8th Imam, in part of forming part of the Hikmah 38 of Ahl-ul-Bayt, being that the last part that Amirul-Mu'mineen speaks about is Husn al-Khulq, the person that has the best akhlaq. And all of these lectures have been leading or trying to help us achieve that elusive state of happiness. That actually happiness can only be achieved when we find ourselves in a state of inner happiness, when we've created that utopia within ourselves, when we've created the society that we would like to see outside within ourselves. It is only then that we can achieve happiness. Happiness that is both intrinsic, happiness that is both external. Because when we change ourselves, then that change will then automatically affect those around us. There was one part of that narration that I wanted to look at a little bit and then move on to something else today that leads on to this. But what is the result of the person that is not happy? Or what is that afterlife like for a person? You know, what are the stages of death? What is it that a person will see when they approach death? What state will Malikul Maut be in? What is that state in the grave? What is that which will happen in the barzakh? What is the barzakh? What is this, the life of the barzakh? We will discuss this in the coming nights until the day of Eid, inshallah. But the part I want to focus on that I mentioned yesterday, that I want to look at a bit more in depth, was that it said that the 8th Imam never did dhulm on anyone. The 8th Imam never spoke badly towards anyone, nor did he ever swear at anyone. And I wanted you to have a look at this concept of swearing, because the tongue is the root of many of our sins. And swearing, swearing at someone is one of the most heinous crimes that any individual can do. Why? Because that person is attacking the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll give you some examples of it as well in the course. But in the morning, when the body wakes up, all the organs of the body, they all address the tongue. And they say, tongue, if today you control yourself, we will all be saved from the fire of hell. But if you don't control yourself, you will drag us all towards the fire of hell. Because the tongue is the opening. The tongue is that thing that takes us towards the fire of hell. Because it's simply a word that I exchange with a non-mahram that makes me take the next step, that now involves my body and the haram of my body. So the first step is being able to control that tongue. Because the tongue is what will cause a lot of people strife in the akhirah. Many people have accustomed themselves to swearing. Actually, let's leave swearing to aside. Many people have accustomed themselves to saying bad things, i.e. hurtful things. Things that would hurt the feelings of another person. For example, a wife can say to her husband, you're useless, you're worthless, I wish I had a better husband, or if I'd married fulan person that came before you, I would have been a lot happier now. Hurtful things. It causes a lot of hurt to a man, it causes a lot of hurt to a husband. Or a husband says to his wife that you're useless. I didn't know that you didn't know this, or if someone like you, it's your family, or it's come from your family, that's where you've got this habit from. If your family weren't like this, you wouldn't be like this. Both these actions will drag a person to Jahannam. Because we have a narration from Amir al-Mu'mineen that's passed around anecdotally. It says there's nothing more, and I'm paraphrasing it because I don't want to attribute something that is a lie to Amir al-Mu'mineen, especially in the state of fasting. But I'm paraphrasing it. It says there is nothing more hated to God than the tear of the woman that is oppressed by her husband. That tear that falls from her eyes as a result of the rudeness of her husband, as a result of the bad akhlaq of her husband. So that's one side of it, that the tongue that can't be controlled. The second side of it that is worse is the tongue that swears. First example, there is someone that is with the fourth Imam. They say that he was one of the closest companions of the Imam. Wherever the Imam would go, this person would be with him. One day, he's walking with the Imam, and this individual is calling his slave. He calls him first up, slave, slave. He doesn't listen. He swears at his slave. He says to him, O son of a woman of ill repute. Yeah, O son of a woman of ill repute. He addresses his slave in this manner. The Imam is walking, the Imam stops. He says, what did you call him? He says, Imam, I said, Yabna Fa'ila, the woman, a woman of ill repute, the son of a woman of ill repute. The Imam says to him, tell me, were his parents not married according to their religion? He says, Imam, yes, I know, but my Jewish slave, it doesn't matter. Imam says, no, were his parents married according to his faith? He says, yes, Imam. So he says, why is it that you swore at him in such a way? He says, why is it that you used this swear word? You know what the Imam did? This is the point now. This is the reason that I bring this up. One word. This person was with the Imam for how many years? All his time he was with the Imam. They said he was like a shadow to the Imam, inseparable from the Imam. He swore once in front of the Imam. The Imam said, until I am alive, never speak to me again. Leave. And the Imam never spoke to him for the rest of his life because he swore. Come to the battle of Siffin. Malik al-Ashtar, Hujr ibn Adi, they're fighting, and they reach the army of Muawiyah. They hear someone swearing at Amir al-Mu'mineen. Malik al-Ashtar. That Malik al-Ashtar, that Amir al-Mu'mineen says that if Malik was a mountain, no one would be able to reach the peak of Malik. That's how great Malik al-Ashtar is. Hujr ibn Adi, which Hujr ibn Adi? That Hujr ibn Adi that they say that if you went for the ziyarah of Sayyidah Zainab in Syria, and we pray that Allah liberates Syria and gives us the opportunity once again to go on the ziyarah of Sayyidah Zainab. They said that if you go on the ziyarah of Sayyidah Zainab and you do not go on the ziyarah of Hujr ibn Adi, your ziyarah of Sayyidah Zainab is not accepted. Two companions. Two of the greatest companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen. They say that they heard some of the members of the army of Muawiyah swearing at Amir al-Mu'mineen. So they swore back in defense of their Imam at Muawiyah. Amir al-Mu'mineen calls them back. Says that it has come to my knowledge that you swore at some of my enemies. Or you swore at my enemy, you swore at Muawiyah. Said, yes, Imam, we did. They were swearing at you. So in your defense, we swore back at them. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, he says, do not be from amongst the people of swearing. If you redo this action again, I have nothing to do with you. My every other word is a swear word. I get angry and I start swearing, and I still think that my Imam will come and accept me. Everything that I do is wasted if those swear words leave my mouth, because the Imam doesn't want anyone like that. Everything I do I think that the Imam will look towards me and say, oh my Shia, where were you all my life? You are the one that I've been waiting for all my life. Yes, you have a problem, you swear. Please recite Salat.
Allah Muhammad.
Says that you swear. The Imam says that my Imam will not be willing to accept someone that swears. If the fourth Imam wasn't accepting it, if Amir al-Mu'mineen wasn't accepting it, then the Imam of my time won't be accepting it. If I have accustomed myself to swearing, then I will be dragged towards the depth of hell. There are narrations of the people whose tongue are shut, the people who oppress other people with their tongue. When Imam al-Hussein comes to Imam al-Sajjad in those final moments, he says to him, he says, my son, remember one advice from me. He says, do not do dhulm on anyone that has no one except Allah. Many a times in our marriages, our wives are those individuals that have no one but Allah. And many times the words that come out of our tongue, or the anger, or the fear that we try and instill within them is dhulm. Imam al-Hussein is telling Sayyid al-Sajjad, he's saying to him, let's do not do dhulm on someone that has no one by their side except Allah. Why? Because the dua of the oppressed one is very powerful. All of these things, they lead to one place. You know, this dunya that we live in, all of these things that we work for, all of these things that we think that somehow, in some way, that's going to make us more stronger, or it's going to make us better if we speak in a certain way, or if we put down someone in a certain way, or if we act in a certain way, or if we lie in a certain way, or we do ghibah in a certain way, or we walk in a certain way, we speak in a certain way. All of these things, we think that somehow they will make us better in the dunya, but then they might for temporary time. For a little while we may be happy in the dunya, but then there is a time. There is the time when neither the tongue will come to the aid, nor these eyes, nor these limbs, nothing, and that is at the time of death. Because at that time, as the ayah of the Holy Quran says, that at that moment Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will address that person. لَقَدْ كُنْتُ فِي غَفْلَةٍ مِّنْ هَذَا فَكَشَفْنَا عَنْكَ غِطَاءَكَ فَبَصُرَكَ الْيَوْمَ حَدِيدٌ. That this is that thing that you are unaware of. This is what you were ghafil of. This is what you are inattentive of. Today we have lifted the curtains in front of your eyes, and now your eyes are sharp. Today you will see. See, from the moment a person approaches death, or from the moment they see Malakul Maut, one foot begins to enter into the barzakh. But death itself is something that is painful, that is extremely painful. It's something that a person cannot escape. For the believer, death, they say, it will be like smelling a flower. For the believer, it will be like smelling a flower. Malakul Maut will come and give them a flower and smell it. But for those that are not believers, we're talking Salman, Abu Dhar, Miqdad. Those individuals are believers. Those individuals are believers. What about those that are not? Those that haven't achieved? Those that haven't got to that level? Then what is it that faces them? See, the pangs of death are so difficult. that some of the youth of Bani Israel, they came across a place, they came across a graveyard, and they said, they were pious individuals, they said, let's pray to Allah to allow us to speak to one of these individuals. They raised their hands and they said, oh Allah, we want to speak to one of these people from beyond the grave. Soon after their dua, someone approaches them from the barzakh. A man, an old man, he says, what is it? Who called me? God has told me that I have to come out and answer your questions. They say to him, they say, tell us something. Tell us about how your death was. Tell us about the pains of death. This individual says, I can't. He says, I can't explain it to you. He says, but let me tell you this much, that it has been 99 years since I died. It has been 99 years since I died. And this point from where my soul exited, the final part from my throat, where Malakul Maut ripped my soul from my physical being, says 99 years have passed and still I feel the pain. The Holy Prophet is walking with the companions. He sees a lamb being slaughtered. He turns to his companions, he says to them, imagine this lamb was alive and they hadn't slaughtered it yet, but instead they took off all its skin. They skinned it while it was alive. And then they cut it. How much pain would that lamb be in? How much pain would that sheep be in? Ya Rasulullah, excruciating, unbearable. He says, death is 1,000 times worse than this pain. One day he's walking with his companions amongst the sweet sellers, where people are frying sweets. He addresses his companions. He says, imagine if a person was to be placed in this oil alive. How difficult would it be? Ya Rasulullah, very painful. He says, death is 1,000 times worse than this. He says the pains of death are 1,000 times worse than this. See, the more sins a person commits in the dunya, the more oppression a person does in the dunya upon themselves, upon those around them, the more difficult that soul is to remove from the body, because that soul wants to be connected to the world. No, my wife, my children, my business, my wealth, it won't want to leave. And the more Malakul Maut pulls, the more every single part of that soul wants to hold on, because it knows, it sees what's happening. And what just even the appearance of Malakul Maut is azab upon a person. Even his appearance is difficult. Hazrat Maryam addresses Hazrat Isa. She comes in his dream. She says that, he says, Mother, would you want to come back in this world? And she says, the only reason I'd come back, my son, is because this journey is so difficult. This is Maryam, not any ordinary woman. This is Maryam. Maryam is saying, this journey in the Akhirah, my son, is so difficult. If I was to come back, I would come back so that I could stand in more nights to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For more Qiyamul Layl. This is because this journey for me is so difficult. So difficult. The questioning of Munkar and Nakir is so difficult. When Imam Khomeini appears in his dream, in the dream of his son, he says to his father, he says, Father, tell me, how difficult is the journey? Imam Khomeini says, my son, very difficult. He says, Father, explain it to me. He says, I can't explain it to you, but suffice it to say, even the hand that I would raise to wave at the people, they questioned me about that. What was your intention behind raising your hand? This is the reality. Malakul Maut, the adhab starts from the moment the person, the sinner, sees Malakul Maut. Hazrat Ibrahim meets with Malakul Maut. He'd have conversations with him. He'd say, Malakul Maut, tell me, show me how you will appear for the disbeliever. Malakul Maut says to him, Ibrahim, you are the Prophet of Allah, but Ibrahim, you won't be able to bear it. Says, I am one of the Ahl-ul-Bayt. I am the Prophet of Allah. I am the Messenger of Allah. How can I not bear it? He says, Ibrahim, I'm telling you, you won't be able to bear it. He says, show me. He says, okay, turn around. Hazrat Ibrahim turns around. Malakul Maut then says, turn back around. Now when Ibrahim turns to face Malakul Maut, he looks at that which is in front of him. Ibrahim, the Khalil of Allah, faints. Says he saw this tall figure, hair standing on end, a foul stench emanating from the body, fire in the eyes, smoke billowing, dark clothes, such a scary appearance that Ibrahim, the Khalil, the Prophet, the Messenger of God, faints. How will we prepare ourselves for that journey? How will we get ready? From the moment a person sees Malakul Maut and his loved ones all surround him and they're crying and they're wailing and they don't want him to leave, they all stand around him. At that moment, they say the first thing that Malakul Maut does is he points to the individual and his limbs stop working. Now he can see everything, he can hear everything, he's speaking, but he can't move now. He doesn't have the power to move. Then Malakul Maut points towards the tongue. And the tongue stops working. And now he wants to hold his son, he wants to hold his daughter, he wants to hold his loved ones, but now his limbs won't work. He wants to tell them one last time how much he loves them, but his tongue's not working. He can only see and hear them crying. Then Malakul Maut points and his ears go deaf. Now he can't hear them, he can't hold them, he can't speak to them. He can just see what is happening around. She can just see how they're crying around them because they realize he's no longer responsive. The eyes are opening, but nothing seems to be going on. No reaction seems to be coming. Again, Malakul Maut points and the eyes become dark. Now nothing. Sees no one. Just now Malakul Maut in front of him. Hazrat Salman, the companion of Amirul-Mu'mineen, in Madain, as he begins to reach the end of his life, he calls one of the companions of Amirul-Mu'mineen, Asbaq ibn Nubata. He says to Asbaq, or Asbaq says, I went to visit Salman. Salman says to me, Asbaq, I've heard from Amirul-Mu'mineen that he told me that when my time of death is near, the dead from the graveyard will speak to me. Says Asbaq, take me towards the graveyard. Says, take me to the graveyard. Asbaq says, we prepared a bed, a plinth for Salman. We placed him on this plinth and we carried him to the graveyard. We placed him in the middle of the graveyard. Salman now begins to call out. He says, Assalamu alayka ya ahl al-qubur. My salams be upon you, O dwellers of the graves. There's no reply. Again Salman calls out, Salams be upon you, O dwellers of the grave. No reply. Again Salman calls out, Salams be upon you, O dwellers of the grave. Still no one replies. Salman says, O dwellers of the grave, it is me, Salman, the companion of Rasulullah, the companion of Amirul-Mu'mineen. I am sending salams upon you. Answer me. Will no one answer my salams? A reply comes, Wa alaykum salam, O Salman. O companion of Amirul-Mu'mineen. Salman says, answer for me a question. Says, what is it? Says, tell me, how was death for you? Says Salman, ask me about anything else, but do not ask me about death. Says, ask me about anything else, do not ask me about death. He says, Salman, because there is nothing more painful than this. Salman, I'll tell you this much, that if someone was to take a saw to my body and cut me with a saw to small pieces, Salman, I would accept that pain over the pain of death like any day. It's death. He says, tell me what happened. He says, I felt ill. My family members, they were all around me. They all surrounded me. They were crying and they were wailing and they were... He says, at one time, I saw a figure appear in the room. A figure that was scary, smoke billowing, flames coming from it, a foul stench emanating from him. I looked towards him. I said, who are you? Where have you come from? I realized that my family members couldn't see him. He said, I am Ahl-ul-Bayt. I am the angel of death. And your time is up. He says, but my family, they're all here. Allow me, just go back. He says, your time is up. Says Salman, he looked towards me. And now he slowly began to point towards me. My limbs, they stopped working. My tongue, it stopped working. My ears, they stopped hearing. And then soon my eyes became dark. And now I saw myself in absolute darkness. In absolute darkness. And then I saw him brandish a spear towards me. I saw him brandish a spear of fire towards me, and he pointed it towards me and began ripping my soul from my body. He says, Salman, the pain was so excruciating. I felt every nerve in my body split. I felt every vein rupture as he pulled the soul from every limb in my body. I screamed in pain. There was no one to hear my screams. There was no one to bear heed to my pain. No one was there to listen as he ripped my soul from my body. Salman, that spear of fire was so hot that had it fallen upon the earth, everyone would have died because of its heat. He brandished it towards my face and he ripped out my soul from my body, and I looked back at my lifeless body lying there. And I saw now my family members falling upon my mayyit. And I was crying to them, no, I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Why are you crying? I'm still here. But no one heard me. No one heard anything I had to say. Says at that moment, in other narrations, they say 3 individuals will appear in front of the person. He'll turn to the first one, healthy and strong. Say, who are you? Are you here to help me? Says, I am the manifestation of your children. In the dunya, he says, oh my children, those that I worked day and night for, those children that I didn't worry about the wajib or the halal or the haram of Allah for, my children, I did everything for you. I did everything to raise you. I destroyed the orders of Allah. I went against the commands of Allah for your benefit. Oh my children, will you come and help me? They say, Father, the manifestation of the children says, Father, no. We will buy you a kafan, we will buy you a place to rest. That's as far as we go. He says, I looked towards the second person. I said, who are you? He said, I am your wealth. He says, my wealth. I worked day and night for you. I made sure I worked extra hours, extra long shifts. I worked and I didn't care whether I was earning halal or haram. I did everything for you. You must come and help me now. Says, I will help you enough that I will provide some kafan for you. I will buy you whatever needs to be done in order for your funeral to happen. But then me and you will part ways. He looks towards the third, the weakest of all of them. Says, you can't help me. I don't want to know who you are. He says, no, but I am the one that you will know who I am. Says, I am your a'mal. I am the deeds that you sent forward from the dunya for yourself. I am that which will accompany you through this whole journey until the day of judgment. When the soul is taken out, these tajassumul a'mal, the manifestation of actions will present themselves. 3. This individual says, my soul was ripped out from my body. Salman, I saw 2 malak approach me, 2 angels approach me. They wrapped me in a silken cloth and they carried me to the heavens. See, when the soul first dies and after it's ripped from the body, the soul is then sent to the heavens to answer the first level of questioning with Allah directly at the arsh. But some souls are not pure enough to reach that station. So as they ascend, the first door of the heavens closes on them and the malaika strike them down back to the earth. Says, I got carried to the heavens. I answered my questions. I was brought back down. By this time, my body had already been laid upon the table of ghusl. Says, I was begging them, be kind, slowly, gently, because the moment you cross over, all of these senses, they're heightened 1,000,000 times over, beyond our comprehension. Like now, if something hits me, someone pinches me, there's this pain. But in the akhirah, this will be 1,000,000 times, 1,000,000,000 times, beyond comprehension worse. I become hypersensitive to everything. Sound, touch, heat, cold, smell. Everything becomes hypersensitive. Now the moment someone touches my body gently, I scream as if they've stabbed me. So now he says, I watch my body lying there on the bed of ghusl, and the people are washing it, and I'm begging them and I'm saying to them, please be gentle with it, because when Malakul Maut ripped my soul from it, he ruptured all the nerves, he damaged all the arteries, the veins were damaged. Says, please be kind to it. This was my companion for 70 years on the earth. It served me well, please be kind. He says, I'm begging them, I'm crying out to them, no one listens to me, no one's hearing a word. Says, they prepare my body with my kafan. See, before, for the disbelief, for the believer, the water is normal. The water of ghusl is normal. For the disbeliever, for the one that has committed sins, that water of the ghusl turns to boiling water that is being poured over the body. I said to you, heightened senses, now boiling water over that body. Tell me, what pain will that mayyat be going through? Undescribable. This is why Amirul Mu'mineen says in Ahl-ul-Bayt, he says, فَغَيْرُ مَوْصُوفٍ, and he says, it cannot be explained. Even Ali says, I can't explain to you the difficulties of death. Ali, Amirul Mu'mineen, he says, Ali cannot explain to you the difficulties of death. It is beyond explanation. Says, my soul, they're washing my body. Now they began to wrap me in kafan. For the disbeliever, the kafan becomes a kafan of fire, and his adab begins. That kafan of fire wrapped around it. We can't see it. It's happening in the parallel dimension. It's happening within the barzakh. But the person exists here and exists there. The pain is heightened. Everything is heightened. Says, they take me and they place me in that grave. And I realize that I'm all alone. There's no one by my side. They carry me to the graveyard. And I'm begging them. I'm going to each person, the soul following the body, begging them, please don't leave me. What are you doing? Don't leave me. Please, don't take me there. Don't take me. Says, I'm begging every single person that's holding my body. And I'm saying to them, don't take me. Please take me back home. Don't place me in this grave. Says no one listens. I'm begging them, I'm screaming at them. None of them listen. Says I call out to my children, my world, my people, my wealth, my family members. Someone listen. No one listens. Says they carry me and they lowered me into that grave. And now they began pouring the soil over my body. And I said to them, don't bury me. Don't leave me alone. They begin throwing me inside that grave. And now as the grave gets covered, and it becomes covered, and I hear them speak amongst themselves. Let's go. There's nothing we can do for him now. Let's go and recite Quran for him at home. He says, I beg them, don't leave me. Someone stay by my side. I don't want to be alone. As they leave me, I feel my soul get thrown back inside my body. And I opened my eyes, and I was back. I was inside the grave. I said, no, I need to go back. Where am I? Why am I here? Please let me go. I swear I'll go back and I'll live a better life. Someone just let me out of here. As I'm saying that, as I'm crying that out, no, please let me out. I won't live the life that I lived. From behind me I hear a voice. كلا إنها كلمة هو قائلها ومن ورائهم برزخ إلى يوم يبعثون. Says, no, surely now there is no return. You lie, they lie. There is no return. From now there is a barzakh between you and them until the day of judgment. He says, I turned around to see who it was that was speaking to me in the darkness of my grave. And I saw an angel standing there. I said, who are you? He said, my name is Rumman. Or in other narrations referred to as Munabbih. Imam Sajjad in his dua for the Malaika, he says, As-salamu ala Rumman. This is that Rumman. Says, what do you want from me? Says, I will tell you. Rumman is the precursor to Munkar and Nakir. Says, who are you? He says, my name is Rumman. I've been sent by Allah to take account of you. The rest of it tomorrow, inshallah. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives the sins of our parents. Oh Allah, those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Those of our parents that have left this world, give them a place next to Ali Muhammad in Jannah. Oh Allah, those who are ill, give them shifa'ah. Those who are in debt, clear their debts. Oh Allah, keep safe the ulama and our marajih. Oh Allah, keep safe the Shia of Ali Muhammad around the world. Destroy the enemies of Tashayyu, whichever form they may come. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time and allow us to be amongst his true materials, true orators, for the acceptance of these du'as and any other du'as that the brothers and sisters have brought. Please recite 3 rounds salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.